Shabbat el yishmereni, ki yishmer Shabbat el yishmereni, oti leomehad beno uveni, oti leomehad beno uveni, ki yishmer Shabbat el yishmereni, ki yishmer Shabbat el yishmereni, oti leomehad beno uveni, oti leomehad beno uveni.
Shabbat Shalom. It is so good to see all of you. I welcome everyone to Temple Emanuel's Shabbat evening service, and I encourage you, as many of you are doing already, to use the comment box to wish this community a Shabbat Shalom as we join together in sacred community in this virtual space.
Shiru l'Adonai kol ha'aretz, Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, Shiru shiru l'Adonai, Shiru shiru l'Adonai. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along, all the earth a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai kol ha'aretz, Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash.
I'm so glad you are with us for the start of the Sabbath, the start of Shabbat, our day of rest, our day of recreation. Who we need to be in this day is who we should be throughout the week. And as we bring a little light, we don't really need any more warmth in this world right now. As I was driving past that amazing restaurant, that amazing sign in Bridgeville, the one with the yellow marquee with such amazing sayings on it. It said, "Okay, summer, we get it. You're hot. You can stop showing off now." It feels like we could all use a little bit of a respite. So even though we don't need that extra heat, we could use that extra light in the world as we invite the Young family to lead us in the kindling of our Shabbat lights. The prayers can be found on page 2.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And on page 5, we find our blessing over Kiddush, the holiness of this day.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh ureshit, ki hu yom techila l'mikra'e kodesh, zecher l'tziyat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'acharta, v'tanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Amen. L'chaim, to life indeed. As we continue our prayers on page 20, welcoming the Sabbath as did the ancients in northern Israel, they would go out to greet the setting of the sun, hopefully with the same beautiful sunsets that we're now seeing, to welcome the Sabbath, to celebrate this day, page 20.
לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. 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 שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי. אורי אורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני אלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עצרת בעלה, גם בשמחה וצהלה. תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Words of Shalom Alechem as we continue our greeting, page 24. As you'll see throughout our service, I was in kind of a silly mood as I was setting up for this one and wanted to share one of our fun versions of this prayer with you this evening.
Shalom Alechem Malachei Sharet Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim Kadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Alechem Malachei Sharet Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim Kadosh Baruch Hu. Oy 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 Shalom Alechem Malachei Sharet Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Olachem Shalom Malachei Shalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim Kadosh Baruch Hu. Olachem Shalom Malachei Shalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim Kadosh Baruch Hu. Olachem Shalom Malachei Shalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Achuni Shalom Malachei Shalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim Kadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Malachei Shalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim Kadosh Baruch Hu. Lunil Shalom Malachei Shalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Sechem Shalom Malachei Shalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim Kadosh Baruch Hu. Sechem Shalom Malachei Shalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim Kadosh Baruch Hu. Sechem Shalom Malachei Shalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
A while ago, I asked everyone what made your Shabbat. Were there certain melodies that uplifted you? That is one that brings a smile to our face, and I'm so grateful to you, Tim and Mel, for helping put that together. What brings a smile to your face, or more pointedly, what gives you hope this Shabbat? During my sermon this evening, you'll hear one thing from this week that gives me a tremendous amount of hope. And I'm curious, what sparks hope? What brings a bit of joy to you in this world in which we live? We continue on page 26. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah Lamad yivrachute v'yamlich malchute b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayedecho beit Yisrael bagala uvizman kariv v'yimeru amen Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach Le'alam olam me'amaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei dekudasha B'richu le'la mincho v'yirchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'yimeru.
Amen.
Our call to worship, our Baruch Hu praise, page 28, rising or rising in spirit as you so choose.
Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai.
Each Shabbat, we've been looking for ways to enhance our worship together, hearing the voices of congregants in prayer, hearing them sing. And this evening, I'm excited to try something new as well. What we're going to attempt to do in just a moment, and I'm setting it up in case it doesn't work, so you'll bear with me, is to invite Leslie and David Hoffman in to share with us a reading. The difference is they're not pre-recorded. If everything goes well, they're going to join us live from their home, which, as you can imagine, will open up all kinds of different worship possibilities for us. All right, Leslie and David, we're coming to you. Would you lead us into that prayer for Ma'ariv Aravim?
This is an hour of change. Within it, we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over?
This is the hour of change, and within it, we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim.
All right, hopefully that worked. We'll find out as we watch this back, although please feel free to use the comment box to let us know if you were able to hear Leslie and David. Leslie and David, I am grateful to you both. Thank you for joining us this evening. We continue now the watchwords of our faith, Shema Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
There are indeed so many things that give us hope in this world. Robin says, keeping in touch with friends. David reminds us that even deep breaths of fresh air can give us hope and a sense of joy in this world. And of course, a special happy birthday to Leonardo and all who wish him well. As Ava says, a vaccine and movement toward that vaccine would be a tremendous gift of hope. What gives you hope during this time? We continue with our Mi Chamocha praise, a promise of freedom in the days past and in the days to come as well. On page 42, we continue with our Hashkivenu praise, asking for God's Sukkot Shlomecha, God's shelter of peace, to be spread over us.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu leshalom. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm.
A thought has blown the marketplace away. There's a song on the wind and joy in the trees. Shabbat arrives in this world, scattering a song in the silence of the night. Eternity utters a day. And as we say words of Vishamru found on page 44, we remember that this day is a covenant between God and the people of Israel for all time, a covenant to remember the Sabbath, to rejoice with it as well.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורתם בבית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם בברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, עוד היא לעולם, עוד היא לעולם, עוד היא לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם בברית עולם.
Hope can be found in watching grandchildren and great-grandchildren and children who are in our lives, who are home from college or who are headed back, God willing, safely. Hope comes from family, not only children, and music and the beauty of nature. Hope can be found all around. In part of my sermon this evening, I will share something from this week's news that gave me hope. And I would encourage you to keep sharing those things that give you hope as well as we continue with our service. Rabbi Locketz, we turn it now to you for the start of our Amidah, found on page 46.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufia gitahilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, v'Hanorah, El Elyon. Gomel chasadim tovim, ve'konei hakoho, v'zocher chasdei avot ve'imahot, u'mevi gula livnei v'nehem, lema'an shemo b'ahava, melech ozer u'moshia u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Tagi borle lamadonai, mechaye hakol atarav lehoshia, morid hatahal, mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim v'rofech oholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, Lishanei afar, michamocha ba'al gevurot, umido melach, melech memit umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'emanet halachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol. Takadosh v'shimcha kadosh, ukedoshim b'chol yom yechalu chasala. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai Mikadesh HaShabbat.
Shalom Rav, our evening prayer for peace, can be found on page 60 in your Siddur.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasihim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasihim Leolam. Ki Ata Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. Ki Ata Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasihim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasihim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol rit uvechol shah bishlomecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasihim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasihim Leolam. Tasihim Leolam. Tasihim Leolam.
Our Mishaberach prayer asks for God's healing presence to be with those in our communities in need of healing of mind, of body, or of spirit. We think of our loved ones to concert our efforts, our energies, to draw God's presence near and hopefully close to those in need of comfort and companionship along life's journey. And if there are those of whom you are thinking for this prayer for mind, body, spirit, healing, I invite you to say their name aloud, perhaps, to enter it into the comment box, to concert your will, as together we pray, Baruch atah Adonai, Rofeh HaCholim, blessed are you, God, who brings a measure of comfort to all who are ill.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
So, I'll be the first person to admit that my crystal ball, my Urim and Tumim, my ability to predict the future has been rather deficient so far in the year 2020. It missed that whole pandemic thing. We should have stocked up rather than been stuck with single ply. Ouch. Once the initial surprise of murder hornets wore off, I was really expecting them to make more than just a cameo appearance. And I really, really didn't expect to see Israeli democracy saved by the United Arab Emirates. Were you as surprised and excited as I was to learn that news? An agreement between the U.A.E. and Israel, the third agreement between an Arab state and the Jewish state, and the first in 26 years. As Thomas Friedman wrote in the New York Times, it isn't quite Anwar al-Sadat going to Jerusalem, and it wasn't exactly Arafat and Rabin shaking hands, but it is really close. A publicly recognized thawing of the relationship between the Jewish state and one of its Arab neighbors is a good thing, if not a great thing. If it comes to fruition, as Mohammed bin Zayed, de facto ruler of the U.A.E., said, the U.A.E. and Israel also agreed to cooperation and setting a roadmap toward establishing a bilateral relationship. We can begin to imagine what seemed yesterday unimaginable. Flights from Tel Aviv to Dubai, embassies and ambassadors, investments in technology and healthcare. It truly does have the potential to be what Friedman calls a geopolitical earthquake, because it isn't reasonable to think that the U.A.E. acted alone. Saudi Arabia, other Sunni Muslim states, it's not so far flung, as Israel is less a threat to their ongoing existence than Iran is. I would like to believe that this is more than just the enemy of my enemy is my friend, that U.A.E. Minister Omar Saif Gobash is right when he says, quote, we are very clearly stating that it is in our sovereign interest to make this move, end quote. But I'm not going to look a gift normalization agreement in the mouth, particularly when that agreement may just have saved Israeli democracy. The agreement is likely good for stability in the Middle East, and it's really good for Israel's standing among its neighbors, but it's even better for internal Israeli considerations. Two concurrent forces threaten to grind Israel as the Jewish and the democratic state that we know into dust. And both crises were simultaneously averted. The first, widely written about after the publication of Trump's peace to prosperity vision for Israeli-Palestinian relations, was the irreparable harm annexation of the West Bank would do to either the demographics or the moral fabric of Israel. The second, more inside baseball threat to Israel's Jewish and democratic nature was the extent to which it seemed Benjamin Netanyahu was willing to go to avoid persecution for corruption. Ari Shavit, Israeli author and journalist, writes, quote, this deal may help save Israeli democracy by now depriving Bibi, a nickname for Benjamin Netanyahu, of the full army of right-wing forces he needed to destroy the Israeli Supreme Court. The settler movement in Israel is livid that Netanyahu promised to pause annexation efforts, likely forcing him to redraw a more centrist base of support and allowing Israel to maintain both its Jewish and its democratic principles. This agreement is really, really good for Israel's internal considerations. It's important for Israel's standing with its neighbors, and it's likely good for stability in the Middle East. There are some questions to be worked out, for sure, and likely reprisals from those who see this as a loss rather than a model that they could pursue as well. As Rabbi Danny Schiff writes, even if this arrangement doesn't blossom fully, immediately, there's little likelihood of now turning back. And that is cause to celebrate. This, to be sure, is the most hopeful that I've felt about the region for a long time, and I hope that you feel some of that uplift tonight as well. I want to leave you this evening with Friedman's conclusion and with a prayer. He writes, quote, there really are two coalitions in the region today, those who want to let the future bury the past, and those who want to let the past keep burying the future. In this moment, the United Arab Emirates and Israel chose a brighter future to enhance their own sovereign interests. And in all moments, Iran and its proxies choose to keep alive a version of the past that precludes even having a future. I pray that Israel's leaders and America's leaders view this as more than an election year stunt, and that their commitment is to bring us all closer to peace. And most of all, I pray that the rest of Israel's neighbors are watching. With words of Aleinu L'Shabeach, we turn our hope to a time when this world might be perfected, when we all might beat as one heart. Aleinu L'Shabeach can be found on the bottom of page 282, and we invite you to pray with us.
Aleinu L'Shabeach L'Adon HaKol, L'Tet Gedula L'Yotzer Bereshit, Shelo Asanu K'riyei Haratzot, V'lo Samanu K'mishpachot Hadama, Shelo Sam Chalkeinu Kahem, V'gor Aleinu Kechol Hamonam, V'anachnu Korim, U'mishtachavim U'modim, Lifnei Melech, Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'ne'emar, V'haya Adonai, L'melech al kol ha'aretz, Bayom hahu, Yiyeh Adonai echad, U'shemo echad.
Our thoughts now turn to our loved ones, those in our family, our congregational family, and those of our friends and neighbors whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. On this Shabbat, we think of the many who follow. We observe the period of Shloshim for Donna Barron, Alan Cohen, Gert Mallet, and Gary Rosenberg, and we mark the yahrzeit, the commemoration of the passing of Harriet Burke, Geraldine Berger, David Berman, Jacob Boudin, Ann Gold Cooper, Lena Ehrenrich, Julius Field, Rita Freed, Gail Goodman, Paul Green, Shirley Greenberg, Barbara Grice, Gertrude Heater, Bertha Hirschfield, Maxine Hoffman, May Kaufman, Samuel Kindler, Gerd Leston, Victoria Levitt, Mildred Lupovitz, Ruth Daniels Meal, Sarah Myers, Ruth Paddock, Edna Pearlstein, Mary Plung, Ruth Potasic, Wendy Rosenberg, Bernie Roth, Samuel Salet, Frida Ruth Schwartz, Lily Shear, Milton Slavkin, Sue Tadish, Mildred Wellens. Are there others of whom you are thinking this evening? Perhaps those whose names I have inadvertently mispronounced, or loved ones you hold in your heart. Perhaps you might share their name out loud or use the comment box to allow the memories to come flooding back, to uplift, to give hope as we keep their memories alive and praise Zichronam Livracha, that they remain for us an everlasting blessing. Words of Kaddish Yatom, our Mourner's Kaddish, can be found on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlik malchutei, B'chayechon v'yomechon, Uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'gala v'izman kariv v'imru, Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam l'amei amaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal, shemei d'kudusha b'richu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiran v'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehei shalama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. May God, who makes peace in the highest of heavens, make peace for us and for all who mourn. And together we say, Amen. But a few announcements before a very fun closing song this evening. First, there are so many different ways to participate in our upcoming High Holy Day experiences. from recording a Shana Tova greeting to singing the Shema, a congregational effort which even I can sing along with, to participating in our virtual choir, and I'm pretty excited to share perhaps a first sneak peek of one of those tunes next Friday evening. There are so many different things you can do. Check out the Facebook page, your emails, fill out the survey, look for ways to participate, because your voice, your participation are what is going to make this the most meaningful, memorable High Holy Days yet. Immediately following the conclusion of our service, I invite you to join us in the Zoom oneg, a chance to talk, a chance to share in a nosh that we ourselves bring. I wish that I could send you an oneg cookie, but I'm afraid I can't. A chance to talk more about this groundbreaking agreement between the U.A.E. and Israel, and who are the winners, who are the losers, and what might this mean for the Palestinians in search of sovereignty of their own. Join us as we talk more about these issues and many more. As part of that preview, I'll show you next week. Rebecca Closson, our ECDC musician, is tremendous and accomplished, and also knows how to have a little bit of fun too. And I hope you enjoy this melody that we use in the nursery school as much as I do.
Friday, 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 Friday night, the sun goes down. Friday, 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 Friday night, the sun goes down. What a wonderful Shabbat sound with the singing going round and round on Friday, Friday night when the sun goes down. Let's say the blessing, say the blessing. Gonna say the blessing. Gonna say the blessing for the Shabbat, ba 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 ba. Woo! Say the blessing. Gonna say the blessing. Gonna say the blessing for the Shabbat, ba 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 ba. Yeah! Friday, 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 Friday night, the sun goes down. Friday, 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 Friday night, the sun goes down. What a wonderful Shabbat sound with the singing going round and round on Friday, Friday night when the sun goes down. Let's light the candles together. Ready? Light the candles. Gonna light the candles. Gonna light the candles for the Shabbat, ba 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 ba. Woo! Light the candles. Gonna light the candles. Gonna light the candles for the Shabbat, ba 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 ba. Yeah! Friday, 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 Friday night, the sun goes down. Friday, 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 Friday night, the sun goes down. What a wonderful Shabbat sound with my friends all going round and round on Friday, Friday night when the sun goes down. Now let's pour the wine, pour the wine. Gonna pour the wine. Gonna pour the wine for the Shabbat, ba 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 ba. Huh! Pour the wine. Gonna pour the wine. Gonna pour the wine for the Shabbat, ba 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 ba. Woo! Friday, 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 Friday night, the sun goes down. Friday, 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 Friday night, the sun goes down. What a wonderful Shabbat sound with my friends all going round and round on Friday, Friday night when the sun goes down. Now let's braid some challah. Braid the challah. Gonna braid the challah. Gonna braid the challah for the Shabbat, ba 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 ba. Woo! Braid the challah. Gonna braid the challah. Gonna braid the challah for the Shabbat, ba 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 ba. Yeah! Friday, 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 Friday night, the sun goes down. Friday, 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 Friday night, the sun goes down. What a wonderful Shabbat sound with the singing going round and round on Friday, Friday night when the sun goes down.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.